fallow because of several reasons. Next. So what happens is water is impounded during our heavy monsoons in these paddies, and therefore they allow for the slow release of water in the river post the monsoon period. So that makes Kaveri a lot more perennial from Kodagu itself. And we estimate that the impounding, the water impounded is nearly 12 billion liters in just these paddy lands. As long as they are retained as paddy lands, that is the potential. And we've calculated that at about 4 lakh liters per hectare. Next, please. So this is what has happened to the paddies of Kodagu now. They're all becoming layouts, Of course, no paddy cultivation will give you as much money as building houses or making plots in your paddy land. So this is what has happened, a huge decline and an increasing decline. It is not stopped. Next. So some of the reasons is that the MSP purchase doesn't quite work very well in our area. Lot of human-elephant conflict. I am also an owner of a paddy land. I've stopped 10 years ago because I have every animal from this big to the elephant size coming and eating the paddy. So it's literally impossible for me to cultivate. Next. Lot of land conversion, as you said, to both other crops. It can be ginger, which is a high intensely poisonous, cultivation, or it could be housing plots and so many other things. Okay. I'll just read out the next bit. Yeah. Just click down. And there's a huge labor shortage in our area, and a lot of labor now is imported from the eastern part of the country, and that comes with certain problems essentially. And it's also an aging district. So these are some of the problems we have. And then we had extreme weather events. What you see is a photo I took of a Maruti van stuck in a very large debris flow in a very large paddy growing area, but essentially it has been the, the debris flow basin of many of the hills. So none of us remember it because the last landslide must have happened several centuries ago, possibly. But now people have started building houses, etc. And then this is the result. And what has happened due to land use changes, that we have water courses which are changing and rapid water outflow during the monsoons. We have very high rainfall in many of the places. We've had several landslides from 2018 onwards, and a lot of damage to infrastructure now. Otherwise it would be like farmland, but now you have big infrastructure, buildings and so on getting, and national highway getting destroyed because of these landslides, and a lot of extreme rain events also are happening. Next. And soil water, because of no impounding in paddies, your soil water retention is much lesser, which means our streams are drying faster. That is something we've also observed. We don't know at the Kaveri level, but it's certainly in our farms we know the streams dry out faster. See, the paddy issue is very interesting because it's not just a grain, but it is spiritually and culturally very significant. In the photo you can see sports which is always conducted in paddy fields just before planting, and that is the Putri festival, which is the harvest festival. It's a very, very special day for us. So paddy has a very strong significance, and that needs to be protected. Next. So I'm just coming directly to the way forward. I'm not giving you any more details because I think there are several available. We see the way forward as a few things. One is a wetland conservation law, and for this I mentioned an adaptation of probably the Kerala law. Maybe it has to be looked at. That looks a little draconian to me. But also focus on ecologically friendly cropping systems. Even paddy should be on the low pesticide, low external input side, because we want a toxin-free habitat. That is one. And to integrate sustainable aquaculture. This is not the high density maximizing of fish production kind, but more an optimizing method, because even aquaculture pays. Paddy doesn't quite pay. So if we can integrate that, then I think farmers can actually make some money and therefore keep their land under cultivation and under some inundation throughout the year. Next. Way forward 2 is the payment for ecological services. Dr. Kushalappa has already spoken of it. How do we get transfers of resources from the user end, maybe the large metros, maybe the better off people, to pay for our landscape management back in Kodagu or anywhere in the Western Ghats? In fact, it is very similar. So here we are looking at how can we incentivize native sustainable paddy cultivation through these payments. And it could be anything from crop protection, fencing, farm machinery, because these are small places, you need different kind of farm machinery, or large things don't work there. How to integrate MG Narega into the payment, MSPs, retail marketing, and a lot of post-harvest support, because it's a very wet and fungus-filled environment. So we really need support in maintaining the quality of produce once we have harvested it. And I think now we can leverage all our IoT and other digital platforms to make these payments possible, payments as well as monitoring of these PES systems possible. So that's a second. The third is our riparian buffer conservation. Already Neeti spoke in the very first session about, see here you see a lot of coffee plants which were submerged in the recent floods. This is 2019 floods. Coffee shouldn't be there at all, but it is. Every inch they will plant coffee, and the river is, being encroached upon. So some form of legal protection to our rivers and their riverbanks. And this requires a policy framework and law, and a lot of intensive conservation, not just here and there, 3-4 plants planted. And we really saw the problems when our riparian areas were encroached by human habitations as well as plantations. We need that buffer to also help us during these odd, the flood times. So it's a disaster mitigation thing. So we need a national policy for riparian buffer protection. This is not just a Kaveri issue, this is all our rivers. And we need space for water to spread during those high rainfall times. So this is the essential thing. So we've had lots of landslides from 2018. The previous big landslides were in 1924 during the big rainfall that even Kerala suffered at that time. So nobody had living memory of these kinds of landslides. And here you see a house actually in the way of the debris flow. These are actually otherwise paddy fields, but there's a house there. So this is very common now. And so we are looking at proper landslide hazard mapping, which is accessible to people. They say, madidare. That's not the point. Even someone like me should be able to find out if I'm, squatting in the right place or not, in my, so that is the thing. Here, the picture is of one of the, vetiver-based slope stabilization we did in Madikeri. It's very funny to say, for about 75,000, we had a workshop, we planted and everything. That slope has stayed, but the 3 crore DC office, though the retention wall is, it is giving way. So this is just the very next slope is the DC's office one, which has not worked. So we want slope stabilization methods for farmers, which is, small things, stream banks, because once streams are sort of silted up, then the whole place starts to become a wasteland. And allow space for water and debris flows in valleys during extreme rainflow events. Yeah, I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you for the apt presentation, and you could do it within the allotted time. So thank you once again. Any quick questions, one or two? Please. Question.
We've heard of it, sir. So one is the mapping. The other thing is that we need, see, the JCB operators don't care, they're doing their own thing. Everybody's doing, even after that 2018 was very striking. We still have PTSD of that. No significant change seems to be, implemented. Only thing is there's more money being spent on literally, holding up an entire mountain. That is not what we want. We need to see how we can avoid all these problems. Yes, yes. Correct. Exactly. But now every time there's a landslide, you bring a whole lot of machinery, clear it up, and cause another one in the next season.
Anyhow, that is a good suggestion given by Dr. Krishnamurthy. So his suggestion can be thought of as and when it is required. So any other questions? Quick one question. Anybody else? If yes, yes.
Very good work. You work on paddy, isn't it? You work on paddy areas of. Actually, what I feel is, maybe I'm wrong. Please correct me. The modern varieties of paddy needs more water, more pesticides, more this thing. Have you ever tried to find out any indigenous varieties of paddy? Yeah, that will be very good work if you do, because that will be more indigenous variety, because this paddy is in the Kurk culture. So the indigenous varieties of paddy will help you in protecting the river system and in total ecosystem level. So please try to, maybe you can take out a pilot project and some varieties of paddy which is more nutritious, more fibrous, and less environmental effort. Thank you, ma'am. Very good.
Thank you. Actually, the issue is here the tendency to have more and more cash crop cultivation. So paddy is no more a cash crop cultivation now because of the cost concern and the labor issues. So this is the tendency not only in Kodagu, adjacent Dakshina Kannada, Udupi, all the coastal districts where paddy is earlier it was grown in a large scale, whereas it is now almost shinked or it is stopped. I can say it is stopped, almost stopped. Maybe some part of Kodagu it is there, whereas in Dakshina Kannada, many parts it is no more. And adjoining Kerala coast also. This is a tendency to shift of crop from traditional paddy to intensive cash crops. So the next speaker, Dr. Mandira Ghoshi is available online. If
yes, I am available.
Dr. Mandira Ghosh, you can present now.
Yeah.
So the time allotted is about 10 minutes maximum.
Okay.
Accordingly, you can structure your presentation. That is a special request from the organizers as well as this.
Okay. Can you see the slide?
Yes, we are able to see, and you are audible also.
Okay.
But can you enlarge the slide, please? You can go for the PowerPoint show.
Restoration of Ganga River ecosystem issues and challenges.
Now the slide is actually cut half.
Oh.
Ma'am, you'll
Now
have to
is it
put it in slideshow mode.
in the slideshow mode? I am sharing this. I am not having any slideshow mode.
You're presenting from your mobile, I believe.
Yeah, from my Android phone I am presenting.
You can maybe rotate your phone to landscape mode. Rotate your screen. That. Yes, this is much better. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, you can repeat the title also. It is once again.
Restoration of Ganga River ecosystem issues and challenges.
Okay, you please start now.
Presented by Professor Arunabha Majumdar, Institution of Public Health Engineers, and Director Professor and Head Sanitary Engineering Department, and Dr. Mondira Ghosh from teacher, Bilaghata Deshbandhu Girls High School, former scholar of Jadavpur University. Introduction. River Ganga is the longest river, and Ganga Basin is the largest river system in the Indian subcontinent. The river flows from Gomukh in Uttarakhand to the Bay of Bengal, Ganga Sagar in West Bengal, covering 26% of India's landmass. The GPS location of the river Ganga indicates at Gangotri Glacier, Ganga source point, and at Ganga Sagar, Ganga endpoint. Catchment area of Ganga lies between east longitude and north latitude 322, 3130. Vast plains of fertile land and rich biodiversity are the assets of this basin, facilitating sustenance of about 540 million of Indian. Prolonged neglect deteriorated ecosystem of river Ganga, and accordingly holistic action plan needs to be taken for restoration of river ecosystem. Overview of river Ganga has been shown here. Key issues are ecological integrity of the river ecosystem confronted to threat various kinds of interventions in the form of construction of dams, barrages, hydroelectric projects, etc. during second half of the 20th century and first decade of 21st century. Deterioration of riverine ecosystem through human interventions, changes of land use pattern, tree cutting, deforestation, urbanization, industrialization has caused adverse impact to river Ganga. Increasing dependence of groundwater resulting in lowering of the groundwater table and adverse impact on water resources in Ganga Basin. River quality assessment indicated that pollution loads receive Ganga from point sources and non-point sources of pollution. Two distinct phenomena were observed due to deterioration of the river ecosystem and reduction of ecological flow in river and deterioration of water quality. Key issues are significant loss of species biodiversity in the Ganga River has been observed over the past many decades, with important aquatic species like fishes, dolphins, gharials, turtles dwindled or disappeared from the river stretches. In Ganga River Basin, riverine resources are overexploited. Land use pattern are considerably changed. Aquatic wildlife of the Ganga Basin is under threat due to reduction of ecological flow and water level, pollution and exploitation of the riverine resources. Restoration of the ecosystem function in streams and rivers requires to be looked beyond the banks to the quality of riparian and perhaps the entire landscape that meets needs of individual species. Sources of pollution in the Ganga River are untreated or partially treated sewage, sewage from municipal cities or towns, disposal of untreated or treated industrial effluent, disposal of untreated in outfall drains, canals leading to the river. Non-point sources of the pollution are from pesticides, insecticides, municipal mixed solid waste, washwater of bedding, then disposal of left out portion of various performances, dumping of dead bodies. Point sources of the pollution has been shown in picture. Non-point sources of the pollution has been shown in picture. Methodology of the activities for abatement of pollution of river Ganga started in the year 1985 by launching Ganga Action Plan. Different activities for cleaning up of the river: laying, intercepting, diverting dry weather flow, laying of sewage network in several cities, carrying out riverfront development works, including upgradation of ghats, construction of community toilets, installation of electric crematoriums. View of a sewage treatment has been shown here. Methodology in order to restore riverine ecosystem, activities relating to the management and plantation will be necessary to facilitate high recharging of groundwater. Rejuvenation and restoration of water bodies, Ganga River Basin will pave the way for the riverine ecosystem. The National Mission for Clean Ganga has started with 4 river restoration pillars, namely Aviral Dhara, Nirmal Dhara, geological entity and ecological entity. The methodology adapted by NMCG along with the partnerships, relevant states and different stakeholders, NGOs in restoring river ecosystem is no doubt appropriate and unique under present economic condition. River ecosystem with its biodiversity plays a crucial role in the health of the river basin and the ecosystem services provided by the river. Activities relating to restoration of the Ganga River ecosystem, strict surveillance and monitoring on regular basis. Improvement in ecosystem requires to be assessed by different environmental parameters: water quality, river biodiversity, highlighting different species increase in population of fishes, dolphins, gharials, turtles, support and services of educational and research institute required to be sought for performance monitoring of the extent and the magnitude of ecosystem restoration. Challenges are NMCG is initiated with a approach champion the challenges posed to Ganga through different sectors, namely wastewater management, waste management, industrial pollution control, has developed a comprehensive strategy to restore the biodiversity value. River with the goal to achieve the NMCG term vision for Ganga River conservation. Population of all endemic and endangered occupy their historic range, maintaining the integrity of the Ganga River ecosystem. Key findings, the Ganga River water quality is showing improvement. As a result, many stretches of the river is now fit for bathing. Water quality improvement highlights reduction of the DOT increase of dissolved oxygen and decreasing trend of the coliform riverfront development, bathing hut renovation, then gradation showing encouraging social acceptance, people's participation in Namami Ganga program in many river stretches, aquatic flora and fauna are restored. Certain activities in the river basin such as plantation, forestry, afforestation, watershed management is taken up for the river ecosystem. Ganga basin is home to a variety of relic, rare and threatened species. It includes the Gangetic dolphin, smooth-coated otter, Eurasian otter, small otter, the critically endangered gharial, magar or Indian marsh crocodile, estuarine crocodile, species of freshwater turtles, including the endangered Batagur kachuga within the Ganga river system. 143 different water fish species belonging to 11 orders, 32 families have been reported. Critically endangered Ganges, Gangetic stingray, golden mahashir and hilsha. Policy perspective and recommendation, holistic approach must be taken for restoration of this with maintenance of ecological flows and sediments. There is need to have a policy to review the impact of existing hydro projects of the upper range of Ganga as well restriction on the installation of the projects. Activities are to be strengthened for restoration of unpolluted flow. More stress should be given pollution load in the river from left out Ganga towns shall be prevented. Sewerage network and sewage treatment plants to be intercept diversion of sewage or sewage and treatments in STPs or by intercept diversion of sewage. There must be provision of fecal sludge management. Urban local bodies and industries should be encouraged for recycling of treated liquid. Industries shall be encouraged for achieving zero liquid discharge status. Policy perspective and recommendation, there must be restriction on alteration of river morphology, control of overfishing and fishing during spawning. Watershed management shall be encouraged. Urban riverfront development should be taken. As a development and installation of biodiversity park is concept for maintaining aquatic flora, river and floodplain are to be initiated. Biodiversity parks selected locations along the river. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mandira Ghosh,
Okay. Yeah.
for your presentation about the River Ganga, the issues faced by River Ganga, and the plan of action for cleaning Ganga and the impacts observed so far, like improvement in the quality and other thing. Any quick questions to the presenter by the audience? Please. Michael, ಹೇಳಿ sir.
It's a good presentation. I just wanted to add something. On the geo portal of Bhuvan, we have created a Clean Ganga project. I don't know whether the speaker has seen that. We have created a complete basin boundary up to the micro watershed database, and also a mobile app is created which can enable a lot of data collection in the field. This could further help her in pursuing her research using this data and using also the apps that has been put out on the public domain. So it is a suggestion from me if she can use the Bhuvan Geo portal on Namami Gange. That's the portal what we have created, and it is done for the Ministry of Jal Shakti.
Hope
Okay,
the
sir. I
presenter
will follow
has
that.
heard what Dr. Divakar has told. He is the former senior scientist from ISRO, presently with the NIAS Bangalore. So any one-to-one interaction is required about the suggestion. Dr. Divakar may be contacted for this purpose so that his advice can be taken for improving the studies and the work. Is it okay? What I told Dr.
Yes.
Mandira?
Yes, sir. I will follow that.
Because it will be
Whatever
definitely it will be
information you
useful.
have given me, whatever information you have given me, I will go through that.
Okay. Through the organizers, you can get the contact details of Dr. Divakar.
Okay, sir.
Please. Any other questions
sir.
from the audience? Otherwise, we'll continue for the next. Anything from Jyoti Kumar? You want to add any point? So thank you once again, Dr. Mandira Ghosh, for her presentation. Now we will switch over to third presentation of the session. Dr. Pradeep Kumar. That is a critical analysis of legal framework for preservation of water, comparative perspective of Dharma Shastra and Artha Shastra. Perhaps a interesting one. I request Dr. Pradeep Kumar to present. Okay, no problem. Please. Perhaps this is the second topic on legal framework. Morning session there was one presentation and an interesting topic. Dr. Pradeep Kumar is getting ready for the presentation. And the next presentation will be Dr. C.G. Kushalappa. Yesterday there was one presentation from Kushalappa. So next one is after this. Dr. Pradeep Kumar's presentation, Kushalappa, and the fifth one is Dr. Girish S. Pujar. And one more is there, the last one is Dr. Kumar, ex-CGM NABARD. That is the last presentation. So there are 6 presentations in the session. Acha, okay, there is some technical snag. So may I request the next presenter, Dr. C.G. Kushalappa, to present his paper. Kushalappa sir, illidara? Illa, ನೀವು ಬನ್ನಿ sir. Acha, acha, okay, he is ready. Sorry, actually Dr. Pradeep is ready now. Are you ready, sir? Please, please. Okay, okay, okay. Please, please continue. Sir, again I am sorry to remind again about the timings.
Sir, I'll take care of it.
Okay.
Thank you for giving me such an opportunity. I am Dr. Pradeep, Associate Professor, Chanakya University, Bengaluru. My topic of paper is critical analysis of legal framework for preservation of water, comparative perspective of Dharma Shastra and Artha Shastra. So, प्राणावय जगता मापो भूतानि भुवनानि च बहुनात्र किमुक्तेन चराचरमिति jagat. This is a slok from Linga Purana, which means the water is the basis of all the living creatures. Not only the living or non-living, but the basis of all bhuvana, the 7 bhuvans described in Sanskrit text. So, and it's one of among the Panchamahabhuta. So, we can understand the importance of water, which described in Sanskrit text and in day-to-day life also. It's a very common sense, and everyone can understand the water, how much water is important, because whole day we drink or we use the water some of our other way. Now, the problem with drinking water or usable water is it's very short, it's very less. The maximum water is available on earth is in saline water or other kind of water. Sweet water is less, and because of pollution, it's becoming reducing day by day. So, just a glimpse. Keeping this view in mind, the United Nations Conference happened in 1972 at Stockholm, and then later they came up with the resolutions and declarations regarding on the environment, and in that it was very much clear that to all the stakeholders, all the members, they should do something regarding the water preservation or prevent the water pollution and something like that. Now, being a signatory of United Nations, the government of India came up with the water law or pollution to protect the water from the pollution. The Indian Parliament passed the Water Prevention and Control Act 1974, the genesis of the Environment Protection Act 1986, and it is in the Article 48A of the Constitution of India under the directive principles of state policy, Article 21, which talks about the right to life, and Article 51AG, which talks about the fundamental duties. All these articles. So if you'll see the issue of water, directly or indirectly, covered in Constitution of India too, either in fundamental rights or in DPSP, directive principles of state policy, or in fundamental duties also. We'll see that. Wait, previous one, sir. Article 48A, protection and improvement of environment and safeguarding of forest and wildlife. The state shall endeavor to protect and improve the environment and to safeguard the forest and wildlife of the country. Without protecting the water, how it is possible to protect the wildlife and protect the environment? Now, Article 21 talks about, sir, previous one. Yes, sir, thank you. Article 21, which talks about the right to life. One of the very important, well debated, well discussed, well defined, well referred by the Supreme Court and common people, right to life. And without water, I don't think we can even dream about the life. So, human, animal, or any form of life on this earth, I don't think it will exist without the water. So, that is again, it's very important in as per the fundamental rights also. Article 51A, here the part, if you'll see the protection of water or preservation of water from the pollution or from the wastage is there. UN declaration is there, and Constitution of India is referred, Parliament Act is there, Special Act is there since 1974. Then in 42nd Amendment, the fundamental duties were also incorporated, and in Article 51AG, what it says, it shall be duty of every citizen of India to protect and improve the natural environment, including forest, lake, rivers, wildlife, and to have compassion for living creatures. Such a clear object and message is there. But the problem is that Article 51A(g) is not enforceable in court of law. If individual is, no matter how many projects are made by the state and how much money is spending by the state and how many scholars are doing and they spend their life for the research, till the individual will not take that, the common person will not sense that it will not work out. And here, law is talking about that, but non-punishable. And if you'll see the jurisprudence of law, why the law is required? Actually, law is a secondary thing. Primary is morality. When the people don't follow the morality, then only the role of law comes in a picture. And here, Article 51G is not enforceable in court of law. That means if someone is doing something, one can't go and ask some remedies from court of law. If someone is polluting the water, there is some remedies in Pollution Act, but that's very minimum. So that's why this paper will discuss on legal mechanism to restrict or deter the individual or collectively from polluting, overusing or misusing the water or water related ecosystem. So in this paper, I'm going to discuss that. This paper will analyze the legal framework and its effectiveness. It will analyze the outcome of various projects on water. This paper will discuss the mechanism advocated and practiced by the Indian text of Dharma Shastra and Arth Shastra. This is very much important because this civilization which we belong is not a new civilization. The experts and scholars are sitting here and the people claim that we are more than 10,000-year-old civilization. The rivers were there and humans were there. And then some less or more amount of pollution was also there. At least the pollution which we can create on individual level, it was there. So how, on what was the mechanism which was preventing an individual or the collective also to pollute the running water or lakes or well or any source of water is available. So I'll discuss and I'll try to search those things, and this paper will search the possibility of bringing the ideas and laws of Danda from this Dharma Shastra and Arth Shastra and try to advocate for modern legislatures. So we can create some amount of deterrence or restriction from the, to restrict the polluters. Thank you, sir. I hope I am within time. Thank you, sir. So any question is there, to then I'm ready for that.
Thank you.
Please. Sir. Sir, let the paper complete and then definitely that paper itself will be the ready reference.
I presume that this
for
is
both, for individual also, law is not made for any specific person. Whomsoever, whatever existed on the earth, it's under the subject of law. So when I'm talking about the law, it's for individual also, legislatures also, academicians also, the policy makers also, for everyone it will be. Suggestion from my side as a researcher, and then it's up to the, yes ma'am. Ma'am, I think this only there is one act in our country, that is 74 Act, and that is only, it talks about the river and other streams and everything. Ma'am, not only the industry, it's very shocking. I have 1 minute, that's why I'll refer
legal
this.
framework is there actually for groundwater also.
This, in our city, Bengaluru, the abandoned stone quarries are getting used for the dumping of the garbage. And I am not an expert, I'm not a science student, I'm a law student, but it's very common. Anyone can understand tomorrow when the rainwater will come and that waste, that it will get decayed and mixed with that rainwater, and when it gets seep in the inside the ground, what will be the condition of the underground water of the Bangalore city or nearby districts. So it's very common thing. This is a future of, this is an area of research of my paper that I'll explore definitely.
Yes, actually, Dr. Pradeep Kumar has restricted the presentation exclusively as per the abstract presentation.
Sir,
if
it's
I
an
am
abstract.
right.
It's not a
That's
paper.
why he could cover in a short time what he want to do it further.
Sir,
If
sir.
I presume it like that. So some of the queries what people are asking here, it will be dealt in later stage in the detailed paper, if I am right.
Yes, of course, sir.
So it is just a abstract presentation. So he restricted for that limitations only. So
Thank
thank
you,
you, Dr. Pradeep
Thank you.
Kumar.
Hello. Yeah, congrats, Dr. Pradeep. Very good work. Actually, one point I want to add is, culturally, we have more better understanding than governing our own waters than whatever may be the rules, laws, acts, all those things. So that is our one side. If you remember younger days, my village, my parents never used to allow to go to the well with chappal. That kind of traditional social knowledge we have how to manage our waters. See, this is high time. Let the UN resolutions and the legal aspect, let them be in the book. But we should revisit our roots to our villages, how our ancestors managed their water. See, yes, I agree our rivers are polluted, but with much more less population around, European rivers are much more polluted in 1800s and early 1900s also. But still that is because of our, we have the culture and social, cultural knowledge, generations to generations who are coming, how to respect the nature. So Pradeep, if you can add that basic knowledge, what we have to your paper, no, that will be much better. Thank you. But otherwise, it's excellent.
Thank you, Dr. Pradeep, for his presentation. May I request now Dr. Kushalappa for his presentation, please.
Thank you, Chairman and members. Yesterday I started with the story of Kaveri, why we were pleached at the back. My presentation is getting ready. I'll just tell one more story on biodiversity. As a bridegroom, I was supposed to hold a black stick. That stick is made from the strongest wood in the forest, which we call the ironwood. The symbolism there is a man represents the strongest, and that is now the most smuggled wood in Kodagu. It's Diospyros ebenum. We call it the black tree. So that's one. Can I have my presentation, please? So yesterday's talk was part of a research where we tried to look at water and see the possibilities for payment. So that is still happening because we are still requesting for PES. But the study that I'm going to present now is something that has already happened on ground. How we could make an attempt to translate biodiversity into a bioresource. Unless you translate biodiversity into a bioresource, no farmer, no common man will definitely think of conserving, preserving biodiversity. This is the simple message. Unless there is more money in my pocket, I'm now talking of as a certified organic farmer in my landscape, not as the Dean of College of Forestry. And I request that if such efforts to translate, whether it is organic farming, natural farming, whatever, if a farmer gets more money in his pocket, naturally rivers will be safe, biodiversity will be safe. There's some issue with the presentation. So it's the same research work. As I said earlier, 7 countries, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Guatemala in Central America, Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda in East Africa, and we were the only one. We used common methodologies to find out Which country's coffee plantation hosts the largest biodiversity? So that is a simple question. Whether a farmer in India holds more biodiversity than a farmer in Costa Rica or in Kenya and in Uganda. So the methodology was common across all the 7 countries, and it's been published in peer-reviewed journals. I'm highly motivated in this event listening to Dr. Mishraji, a young man who spoke so much. I think he's put in so much of energy in us, sir. It was all data-driven that you spoke. So can I have, so this is the transforming biodiversity to bioresource is the topic. Can I move my slides? Or? Can I move the slides? No, I think you have to. Next one. Yes. I'm talking of a landscape which is 78% wooded. Very few districts in India have this kind of a tree cover, of which 33% is coffee plantation, 45% is natural forest. And we hold 8% of India's floristic wealth in this small district. In geographical area, we are nothing, but we hold 8% of India's floristic wealth. And we contribute 38% of India's coffee production. So coffee is today probably in the world trade after petroleum is the next important traded commodity in the world. So we are part of that. And recently the geographic indicators, GI is the next mechanism where farmers can get payment. 3 products from Kodagu have got GI: Coorg Mandarin, Coorg Cardamom, and Coorg Coffee. So this is the mechanism. So what I'm saying is greenness is an indicator of wellness. If an area is green, there is wellness there. Even if you look at all the indexes, Kodagu district stands top just because of the greenness. So this is the research that I was speaking, 2007 to 11, 6 countries, a lot of partners, both from India and abroad. We joined together to look at what is the kind of ecosystem services offered by coffee-based agroforestry and how do we translate that ecosystem service into a reward for the farmers. So this again I had showed earlier, 33 villages, 114 farms we looked in, starting from 150 inches of rainfall in Talkaveri, Bagbandla, the source of the origin of the river, to 40 inches in Kushalnagar, where the river leads. So in 118 estates, how many tree species did we record? 320. Nowhere in the world you have this kind of a richness. So I'm not saying this. The European partners who worked with us told me one simple thing. You've been foolish not to have told the world how you're growing your coffee. Everybody only markets civet coffee, that coffee, this coffee. You have 350 different kinds of tree species on your farm and you've never been able to tell us. You have elephants walking in and out, tigers coming in, but you've never told us. So now all this becomes very important strategies and a rich range of birds also are there. I think trees contribute to diversity. So among the species, the largest number is silver oak, 20%. Our fears currently are, this study was done in 11. When we went and revisited the farms in 2021, 20 years later, the silver oak percentage is enhanced from 20 to 28. So that's the dynamics that we're talking. We're losing the native trees. Farmers are going in for silver oak, but still, it's only 20% silver oak. The rest of the 80% is still native trees. So the thought is immediately you have to conserve the remaining native trees, otherwise we might also lose them very soon. Look at the amount of carbon I can sequester. One is biodiversity. In terms of carbon, forests sequestered 196 tons per hectare. Whereas our Arabica plantations with native sequesters 206, which is more than the natural carbon, because in a natural forest, it's only trees. But here you have coffee plants also, you have the soil. So if you look at the carbon also, we have the quantification. Now everybody is talking of payments for carbon. We have some data with us to share what happens if you have a plantation with native, what happens when you convert that into silver oak. See, if you convert it into silver oak, the carbon sequestration potential drops from 206 ton to 183 in Arabica, and from 183 to 138. The sequestration potential drops when you change to exotics. So, two indicators, biodiversity and carbon. But data is important, but what is the mechanism? I said one is eco-certification. So we started with woods, now we are in rainforest. Other than this, you have a whole range of eco-certifications, fair trade, organic, Nespresso, you name anything. Everybody now wants to come to Coorg and certify our farmers. Basically because they know they have a ready-made system there where farmers are maintaining trees. And why I maintain the trees? Because I have no rights over these trees. It's a tenurial issue. The entire Kodagu district, farmers like me, we cannot own and cut our trees. This is a rule of law. Unlike Chikmagalur, where all the native trees have been removed and replaced with silver oak, Kodagu has not gone that way only because of the simple legal restrictions we still have where we don't own the trees. Now there's a big movement happening where if you can give that right in Chikmagalur, why not in Coorg? But now we want trees to be there and look at mechanisms for payment. I said, eco-certification is in place. Close to 900 farmers are currently certified. Coffee Board is providing an incentive for farmer collectives. If you want to go for certification, they're giving 75% of the certification costs if farmer groups want to go for certification. In addition to that, I've already spoken for possibilities of PES. Salila also did mention about the possibilities of PES. You have geographic indication, and currently I'm extremely happy that the Krishi Aranya Protsaha Yojana, one of the big programs of Government of Karnataka, provides 125 rupees per plant tree that you plant over 3 years period. So there is incentives by the government also to plant trees now. So what is there is already there are a lot of mechanisms available on ground which can be used by the farmers. So the farmers need to be educated, they need to be brought into a group, and we have to do this. So this is one such example. I'm proud to be part of this farmer producer company that we call Biota Coorg. Our logo is also very aptly made, which has coffee, honey, pepper and trees. It's a trademark. And 125 farmers, we came together, and I'm very proud, in our very first year, we could export our coffee directly to Europe, which otherwise is not possible. We are in our third year of business. We have not only been exporting coffee directly through the farmer producer, we've also been selling this good certified coffee within the domestic market. There is a growing demand for such good quality coffee within the country also now, because Coorg is a touristic place. A lot of visitors who come and see the landscape, they want to take back something good. So this has also happened. So finally, my last slide has this new concept called landscape labeling. This is basically from the French European concept where not one, many products from a unit of land can get into certification. So in this basket, if you see, you have coffee, you have black pepper, you have cardamom, you have fruits, you have honey, you have multiple products from the same piece of unit of land. So this all of this can be certified under this new labeling called landscape labeling, which is above certifications, above PES mechanism, and this is a big dream. And yes, I would wish to end my presentation. Sorry. The last slide. So I would wish to, yes, with my Green Army. Nothing is possible without them. I'm extremely happy. Very young men and women from rural areas of Karnataka, they're choosing forestry as a professional course. They come and do this 4-year course. They get appointed in the forest department or wherever, but the passion for conservation, at least in these young minds from rural areas, have been put. And I'm proud to be leading this delegation. And that's what I've proposed to Art of Living. We will be very happy to link the college to the initiative that we want in conserving Kaveri or whatever other program. We have 2 forestry colleges. One is in Uttar Kannada in Sirsi, and both these institutions can definitely very actively participate in this program. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Kushalappa, for the interesting presentation. Perhaps that might have created some curiosity to identify the Coorg brand, if I am right, because everywhere there are brands now. So people go for brands. So Coorg brand, coffee, cardamom, whatever it may be. So he has conceptualized that aspect of branding, certification, maintenance of the tradition, and biodiversified aspects to convert into resource. Finally, when the brand becomes catchy, it becomes a resource also to the grower, farmer. So that is the concept perhaps he has traveled in his presentation. And any questions from the audience side?
I think Cook was most of the time part of the Madras presidency, not part of the Mysore rulers. Subsequently, starting from 1947 to 1956, we were a separate sea state. We were not part of Mysore. Coorg was a separate sea state governed by a chief minister, and we had MLAs. So we merged with Karnataka only in 1957. So this rule of ownership of trees in private lands was started by the kings, later by the British. What they did is, for every 1 acre of paddy that you grew, they gave 10 acres of forest land, which we call as Bane land. I think this is there in Uttar Kannada also, called Sopinbetta. Right? For growing areca nut, they were giving land. So for every acre of paddy, a farmer was entitled for 10 acres of adjoining forest land from where he could collect the green manure. Subsequently, what happened is, we started to underplant coffee in this forest land. So the government said, fine, you can plant coffee, but if you want the trees, you have to get it redeemed. You have to pay the value of the trees to the government and get it converted. So all the big farmers who are educated, aware, they got it converted. Whereas a small farmer, he said, why should I pay for my own tree? He refused to pay. Now they are suffering. The big farmers have the ownership, which is called redeem. If you paid the value, and if you have not paid the value, it is unredeemed. Still, I am not entitled to cut and sell trees, except silver oak. Silver oak being an exotic tree, you can plant and cut. Recently, Karnataka has taken out few more trees out of this list, including mahogany very recently. So these trees have come into the exemption list. So this is the rule as of today. No. Other districts of Karnataka also this rule is not there. I set up for Chikmagalur. There is no such rule there. Only in Kodagu this is there. Pardon me? In India, I'm not aware of, no.
Yeah. One quick question from the audience. Yeah, ma'am.
Madam, probably, if you, I'm sure many of you have seen tea plantations. Tea plantations would definitely cause landslides, not coffee. Because coffee's got 4 tiers. Okay, you have trees level 1, trees level 2, coffee level 3, and ground vegetation. So I showed in my previous presentation yesterday how the rain that drops is intercepted at the canopy, flows slowly through the stem, and then comes. So definitely if the gradient is big, the soil can, but otherwise, if you look at the carbon, the organic carbon content in my coffee plantation is fantastic. There's no dearth for carbon there.
Sir, one question from my side. Excellent
please.
presentation, sir. What will be the per hectare production of coffee compared to Colombia and Guatemala?
Probably as on today, I'm now speaking as a farmer. I have to spend about 55 to 60,000 rupees per acre.
Coffee I'm asking, sir.
In production, definitely, Colombia produces more, but they have to put more inputs.
Yeah,
So-
they don't have intercrop also.
So ultimately, what is left back in your pocket for a Colombian farmer would be much less than me. What happens in Colombia, he has only one crop, coffee. I have coffee, I'm making more money now from my pepper, not from coffee. It's the same unit of land that has coffee, pepper, cardamom, orange. So that is how we could survive the coffee crisis. Otherwise, internationally, when the coffee prices fell, how the farmer in India could survive was because of pepper money. So 3 ways: coffee, pepper, ready income. If you really need more, you can cut silver oak. Silver oak is always kept as an insurance. There's a daughter's wedding happening. You have to need more money, go for that. So diversification is already there. So definitely, yes, sir. Colombia, the coffee is famous because it's Arabica, high altitude, and they're very close to America. So naturally, they get slightly better price. But I'm very sorry about the farmers in Vietnam and Brazil. We've been seeing what is happening there. People who have gone for clearing their forest and growing coffee. It is really very tragic to know of their plights currently. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
No, I think now questions will take in the tea session, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Because we left with slightly more than 15 minutes. 2 presentations are there. Anyhow, thank you for your interesting and wonderful presentation, Dr. Kushalappa. Because he was mentioning about the pepper, because pepper is farmer's gold. It is known as farmer's gold also. So we can keep pepper even 1 decade in our house as a stock. When the price goes up, now it is, I think, around 500 rupees per kg. It is more than arecanut or coffee or whatever it may be. So it is known as farmer's gold. So he is benefited by that farmer's gold stock or current crop, I don't know, in whatever way it is. So that is his effort. He has shared that experience with us. Thank you once again, sir. Now we will have the next presentation by Dr. Girish. Girish is there? Girish? Online, huh? Okay. Dr. Girish, please.
Dr. Girish, you may start.
Sir, your presentation time is 10 minutes exactly, because we are running short of time. So accordingly, you can structure your presentation, please. You have not heard what I have requested? You are not audible, sir.
Unmute. Sir, I think you are on mute.
Unmute, somebody has to call him and... You have to unmute, please. No, no.
Not mute.
Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
Sir, can you hear us?
I think all of us know about the famous temple in Trivandrum,
Padmanabha.
Hello, sir.
Padmanabha Swami
Girish,
temple.
sir.
They're still
I will
trying to
just
take
put
out
you
the
on mic.
gold.
You just say hello.
There you
Please,
have
again.
gold coin, gold
Not loud enough.
say,
It's okay.
chain made of gold. It was offered to the deity. So there is pepper, there is cardamom made out of gold offered to the deity by the king, basically because at time of need that would be a history that we could see.
Hello,
Hello,
Dr. Girish, please.
not Girish sir, this is Madhusudan.
Oh, sorry.
Just now you had one presentation, no? They have to stop chemical fertilizer to solve
Dr.
the
Girish?
pollution problem.
He is telling he is Madhusudan.
No,
Dr. Madhusudan?
no, Madhusudan here, sir.
We'll go with Dr. Girish first.
No. This is Madhusudan from No Algae Nanobiotech, sir. I'm watching your program.
Okay. Please put yourself on mute, sir.
Okay,
Right now the
okay, sir.
paper is same, so the presenter is
Right.
different. Okay, please.
Yes, we can see your presentation, sir.
He's ready. You please continue. Mr. Madhusudan? ಮತ್ತೆ ಯಾರ್ದು? Then who is presenting?
Dr. Girish. Just a second, sir. Yes, sir. Please start.
Afternoon, everybody, and I'm quite thankful for the opportunity of providing analysis. So I'm presenting the case of our build-up of entire Rift Valley restoration efforts at National Remote Center at the previous departments.
Dr. Girish, we are having some difficulty with the audio. Could you please wait while we set your presentation up? Meanwhile, we'll go with another presenter. We are so sorry, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
So next presenter, I am inviting Dr. Kumar from NABARD, ex-NABARD.
Dr. Kumar, he served basically in NABARD for more than 35 years, and he did his PhD from Indian Agriculture Research Institute from the Department of Agronomy, and for all his services, he has served in more than, say, 10 states in the state of Karnataka, and has been working seriously even for the progress of agriculture. Recently, they have formed an organization known as AFNI, where lots of senior agricos have come together to find a future for agriculture in India. That will explain during his presentation.
Respected Chair and dear delegates and friends, please bear with me. I have a sore throat. The topic is restoration of Doni River, agriculture in the Doni River Basin and its culture. I'm Dr. R.M. Kumur, President, Agricos Foundation for New India. This Doni River is a flowing tributary of Krishna River. It originates in Kojanwadi of Maharashtra, Sangli district. After traversing 208 kilometers, it merges with Krishna downstream of Narayanpur Dam.
Audible?
Am I audible? Yeah. I am comfortable. Okay. There is a popular folklore in northern Karnataka. If Doni haridare, onella jola. It is in Kannada. If the Doni flows, all streets in villages of Doni river basin will be full of Rabi Jawar, sorghum. That is indicates the fertility, productivity of the Doni river basin. But unfortunately, now this river is almost dying. Many people don't know about its course, because the river changes its course very often, and the entire river valley is full of Prosophis juliflora, and many times the river loses its course. With that, the farmers of the valley lose their economic course. The major problem of this river basin is soil erosion, siltation, and salinization. This river basin is 3.41 lakh hectares. If it is not affected, the soils are very fertile. The green gram, which is grown in Kharif, gives around 10 to 12 quintals per hectare, which has come down to now, after the soils are affected, to 5 quintals per hectare. Rabi sorghum, which used to give around 20 to 25 quintals per hectare, is now 2 to 3 quintals per hectare. Then what should be the approach for rejuvenation of this river basin? The first thing is, as I told you, it is soil erosion is the major problem. Until and unless we are able to prevent soil erosion, we will not be able to restore this land. We cannot go on desilting this river very often. That's why watershed management is a major step for this. There are 3 sub-catchments, 55 sub-watersheds, and if we take a micro watershed of around 1000 to 1500 hectare, then we will get around 243 micro watersheds. Based on the sediment yield index, the severity of the soil erosion can be understood. More than 1300 sediment yield index, it is very high severity. 1200 to 1299 index, high severity. 1100 to 1199 SYI, it is medium, and less than 1100 SYI, it is low. And in these watersheds have to be, soil and water conservation measures have to be taken, and we have to reduce the sedimentation coming to the river. The sedimentation that is coming to the river, it is causing siltation of the river, and in the process, it chokes the river in many points. And along with the watershed development, we have to take up drainage line treatment, and this can include both engineering and biological methods. Many of the watershed people will know gully plugs, trenches, boulder berms, gabion structures, check dams. They can be taken up engineering methods to treat the drainage line, and then biological methods. The trees can be planted, bamboo can be planted, agave can be planted, which can slow the water flow and make the water in situ seepage. Third step would be desiltation and the riverbank stabilization. The silt and rubble that is coming from top valley, ridge to valley, it is choking the river, and probably wherever it is required, entirely it is stopped. There probably some amount of desiltation and recanalization has to be done. The remaining areas, there can be embankments, guided bunds, wire spires to correct the river course and thereby conserve the river bank and stabilize them. There are around 37 villages on this river bank. They are prone to flood. That's why the desilted material can be utilized for creating village embankments and their stabilization. In the entire valley, Prozoph is infested. There are engineering methods being suggested that you clear them by using bulldozers. But I would like to suggest it can be used as a renewable source of wood material. Probably charcoal making units can be set up. Government of Karnataka can put around 50% equity and PPP model. The strategic investor can be there and he can be running the companies probably. And farmers, wherever it is on their own land, farmers can cut and sell it, or if it is common land, there can be FEOs and others doing this work. Then in the upper reaches, since it is a very gentle slope, construction of the vented dams can be done so that whatever soil silt comes, the vents can be opened and it can flow out, flushed out. Then the barrages can be created, shallow barrages. That is another way of doing the things. Then there can be construction of the farm ponds on a large number. One of the consultants had worked out around 1,500 farm ponds. Then there can be now 100 feet by 100 feet into 12 feet farm ponds. I have seen in Dharwad district, it comes up to March, April, May, they are able to give protective irrigation to the crops. And this water, if it is stored there, it can help in rejuvenation of the flow in the river. Duration of the river flow can increase. And also this water can be used for flushing out the salt in the lower valley where the salinization is creating problem. Then the uplands of the watershed treated plants, there can be trenches, vats, bunds, then cultivation across the slope, so that then can be bund planting, vetiver grass and other grasses can be, so that soil and water both are conserved, and the life-saving irrigation from the farm ponds. Then the restoration of productivity of valley lands, there in some cases is waterlogging, some cases it is salinity. Fortunately for us, salinity is not on large scale. Then the surface drainage can be provided, and there can be subsurface drainage. There can be salt tolerant crops that can be grown, like pomegranate and all. Waterlogging and areas, water tolerant crops can be grown like bamboo and oil palm. Then in the saline water inundation, if it is there can be brackish water prawn culture. Then spirulina cultivation can be taken up on a large scale. This spirulina loves salinity. The more the salinity, better the crop of spirulina. Then in the waterlogging areas, they have to be drained out, but there are certain severely affected areas. The estimates show that around 40,000 hectares of lands have gone out of cultivation. Such kind of people, if they are small and marginal farmers, they are abandoning agriculture and migrating to cities. In such kind of areas, fresh water prawn or fish cultivation can be introduced. Then the policy suggestion I have, this project rejuvenation can be made part of the Krishna Kada, and bigger recommendation I am giving the catchment. Up to this time we had kadas, river kadas. They will treat only the command areas below the dam. But now my suggestion is there can be catchment and command area development authorities, so that the entire river basin can be treated. Such kind of a large scale river basin treatments I saw in Brazil. Of course, command area, they were not giving that much importance, but at least the river catchment area treatments, they gave a very large boost on a policy level. They had entire river basin level committees, and also sub-river basins or tributary-based level committees, including officers and the people's representatives. Thank you. With this, I think that river rejuvenation processes can go on in the country. Thank you once again.
Thank you, sir. Sir, Bani. Thank you, Dr. Kumar, for a small brief, but a effective brief about Doni River and the required action plan as a watershed to revert the issue of silting in Doni River. And he suggested at the end a separate authority like catchment and CADA together. Perhaps a difficult, I think, proposition as far as it is my personal view, because if there is a authority required separately means there will be a catchment authority separately and command area authority separately, CADA and catchment. Even Arcot is having a separate authority in the catchment. So with this brief remarks about the presentation, any quick questions? We are already running time. It is already 4. One more presentation is there. One quick questions I will, I think we can allow, then interaction can be there during tea session, tea time.
Yeah, this Prosopis juliflora you were talking about. So, do you have any percentage of the area covered by that?
Percentages, but if you see the satellite pictures or otherwise the pictures in different stress.
Yeah, actually, my topic also in the same thing, Prosopis juliflora.
Yeah.
It in the watershed, it was almost 25% of the area was covered by that plant. When I delineated, I don't know, remote sensing, our Bhuvan had any images in that way, like categorization. I think it will be 25% of the India itself will be covered, would have been covered.
No, it would not be there on the uplands. So it is only in the river basin because there is a flooding takes place. It is very plain land. Only around the 1 to 2 kilometer east side of the river basin, you may find it at some stretches.
No, but it is almost in all over India. If you go, you will find that plant. It's that presentation. I couldn't do it because of the time shortage. So, like it is. I would like to know what are the mitigative plans for that you have.
Some people are considering removing that, but it is extremely difficult. But even for biological methods like cutting and using it for charcoal making.
But if they go for charcoalness, they'll start growing it again. So it's not a remedy. No, but it's very harmful for human beings working on that.
You can have one-to-one talk during
So,
tea time. So because we are already behind time, we are chasing the time now. So may I request Dr. Girish now?
Yes, sir.
Dr. Girish, please.
Are you able to hear me, sir?
Yes, yes.
How about my presentation? Because my presentation has to come from Google. So somebody follows, I will present this case presentation. Somebody allow me for the Google Meet link.
Sir, we are on Zoom right now, so you'll have to present on Zoom itself.
See, issues like this, where the presentation is there, I don't have Zoom. So I'm only speaking through Zoom. Presentation has to come through Google Meet.
Would you be able to download it from Google?
I'm speaking from mobile.
Even from mobile, he'll be able to download maybe. If it's possible.
ಅಲ್ಲ ನನಗೆ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ನೀವು ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಷನ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಮಾಡ್ರಿ ಸ್ಪೀಕಿಂಗ್ ಜೂಮ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ.
Maybe if you talk, we all can listen to you. It's okay. Not.
Yeah. That's that. I mean, so nice. So kind of you. So kind of you. I'll take 10 minutes. See.
Please continue. Please continue, sir.
Yeah. My case is about actually explaining how a national remote sensing center went along with Department of Land Resources, Department of Rural Development, and DACFW for establishing web-based geographic information systems for watching and monitoring and reporting ridge to valley conservation efforts. Essentially, 2014 it started by signing an MOU with DOLR, wherein entire India's 6,600 watershed projects under IWMP, currently it's called WDC PMKSY 1 and 2, were actually included. And our entire effort was to put a 5-year sequence of satellite images, watch micro watershed projects, along with a mobile application, wherein entire geotagging of around 17 lakh assets for IWMP projects was taken up. So this was a pretty massive effort even for our scale, because with my 25 years of experience, I have not seen a tranche of 33,000 high resolution scenes monitoring the entire India for watersheds. Essentially, 1/5 of the India we're actually watching for watershed level changes, land cover changes, and the signals of whatever the assets that have been created. Taking the cue from there, Ministry of Rural Development, Department of Rural Development, for its Manrega program, they came forward and had a MOU with NRSC to watch their completed assets through geotagging. They wanted to build an asset. So that also morphed gradually into mission water conservation mode, wherein the entire effort was to plan watershed level interventions so that it generates a lot of rural jobs. Essentially, they started with geotagging assets. They called it as completed assets for whatever the reason I'm just going to touch upon. They mapped all the completed assets of it with a target of around 3 crores in 2016 and completed all of them using a customized mobile application. And now they are into second phase, wherein they are monitoring all the creation of either natural resource management activities or non-natural resource management activities using this customized app. And the total amount of assets that are getting reported is around 5 crores. In the phase second, in fact, they are actually monitoring the assets as stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3, wherein somebody has to report the site, then he has to show what they are doing now, and then they have to upload whatever the work that has been completed. The domain of watershed conservation in Manrega ranges something like 40 to 60% depending on the site, but essentially at district level the proportion is 60:40. 60% NRM and 40% is non-NRM. So these two major efforts complemented by other two efforts called Per Drop More Crop and Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana, which also carried many elements of water conservation and water supply. Essentially, Per Drop More Crop is about to take the water in a conserved manner to each of the field through a micro irrigation approach. So in Per Drop More Crop, again, we have around a population of around 8.5 lakh geotags all across India, reporting where exactly those micro irrigation equipments have been installed. And in Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana, though it's a bit of wide spectrum activities, but it has a niche of soil and water conservation efforts as well. So Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana has around 6.5 lakh geotags. So this is the broad spectrum of the efforts that have been done at National Remote Sensing Center to bring in a complete visualization of rural development related activities, especially with respect to watershed conservation on a national level. The entire effort actually gave us a pretty amount of insights with related to strengths and weaknesses of both the levels. Means the state departments, state line departments, they themselves have their own abilities and limitations in terms of handling the database and throwing it onto a national framework and enabling a continuous visualization. While at the center, since we are slightly ahead in terms of keeping in touch with the technologies, due to the ortho rectification approaches and our lessons learned in 1:10,000 all India mapping, the 3-dimensional rectification actually paved the way for a precise precise ortho rectified monitoring for every year. See, when you go high resolution, which is a village level scale, we had to be cautious that our terrain is corrected precisely. Otherwise, my images will start deviating from each other every year. So that 3-dimensional rectification gave us the strength of monitoring the land cover landscape at a level commensurate with village level watershed interventions. So this kind of orthorectified imagery, a sequence of 5 years, was built all across India. And now we are on the almost last leg of compiling the reports across India. And we are actually compiling them as some kind of informal summary reports for each of the project, each of the year. So this is a massive effort which will give the entire set of stakeholders across India what is happening in watershed and what has happened and how we have to take it forward. As all you know, the WTC PMKSY2 is now in vogue, and many states have already started implementing it on the ground. And as we know, the outcome and output, they are the two major verticals ministries highlighting to be brought out as a quantitative or some kind of identifiable results. Because we all know the first set of efforts, in fact, gave us an alignment with the reality that many of the assets may not happen the way we expect it on the ground. Nevertheless, the geotagging effort, the high resolution imaging, the ability of the near infrared to differentiate the water, near infrared and red to differentiate the vegetation, and other soil related signals, we could see that many assets have actually happened on the ground. Similarly, in Narega also, most of the water conservation efforts were geotagged, but sometimes the Manrega focuses more on assets which are not true to watershed conservation types. So we have different type of distribution there. But essentially, we have a database which can show when somebody visits Bhuvan that what all things have been done at a spot. And taking the cue forward, Ministry of Rural Development, DORD, has now adopted the geospatial approach further, wherein a portal, a planning portal called Yukta Dhara has been christened by all the major ministers to be used as a framework for planning all the ridge to valley conservation efforts and across entire Manrega in coming years. This Yukta Dhara actually hosts all the completed plans by the ministries, and it will enable people to tweak the plans in any year. Because as you know, a Manrega planning, especially with respect to ridge to valley effort or watershed conservation efforts, has to take into consideration the current level of degradation, current vulnerability due to climate change, etc. at the local level. So Yukta Dhara has all the thematic layers as well as analyzed assets database, means the geotag database has been analyzed and kept for supporting planning. So this Yukta Dhara is being adopted as an operational module wherein anybody who is going to alter the plans in future for implementing new activities on the ground and create rural employment has to connect to Narega Soft, and Narega Soft has to exchange the data with Yukta Dhara so that a typical geospatially enabled planning activity is taken up and the transparency and accountability levels will go higher. Finally, in terms of PDMC, because per drop more crop is the one which actually enables the delivery of whatever the accomplishment we have done as conservation of water in a judicious manner to the field. It's important that all the historical data sets on drip irrigation, which are available in some major states, leading states where they started drip irrigation quite early, should be combined with the existing PDMC database so that we all know whatever the conservation of water we have done in a watershed is used judiciously. Because we know practical examples in Telangana somewhere wherein they did watershed conservation and allowed a free electricity, which resulted into cessation of second crop. For 2-3 years, people actually enjoyed the benefits of watershed conservation. And when the electricity went cheap, they just pumped all the water and lo, by February, the watershed was dry again. So to prevent that kind of activities connected to watershed conservation, it's important that the water conservation effort has to be seen in the entire spectrum of holding it, making it to work, send it into bore water, groundwater, harvest it properly, and send it as a micro irrigation to each of the field. So in this, towards this, NRC has come up to a certain level of rendering all these processes into a geospatially compliant manner precisely. So thank you. I'll stop here.
Thank you, Dr. Girish, for your quick presentation.
Thank you.
Just I can mention that it is almost a continuation of morning presentation of Dr. Divakar, where the technology, how it
He-
is used for this actual to the groundwork.
It is his
From
dream only, sir.
basic ground.
This entire set of portals are his dreams only.
So the outcome and outputs of this studies and the application of geospatial approach in mainly NREGA program, which is one of the biggest program globally. Yesterday it was told. Definitely in India, covers the large mass throughout the India in all sectors connected with water and other sectors also, particularly the water. So the application is highlighted in his presentation, and how the resource can be generated, and how the resource will be utilized properly to the ground level or the grassroots level. I think question, shall we take? I can ask the organizers whether I can take questions or not now, because time is up, and one more special request is there from the organizers to have a very quick presentation of 3 to 4 minutes by Sri Atreya. Where is Mr. Atreya? He is here. Because the subject is wastewater treatment across different water bodies. So can you have quick one? This is extra presentation than the scheduled presentation. So I request the audience to bear with me.
Yeah, this is, am I audible? Yeah. So, this is not a research, actually we, you could call it, it's a action research on the field. So I have a company and I represent this company, Aqua Bio Solutions. So where we design a lot of products for aquaculture and water stabilization around across 140 plus product we design for 60 plus companies. That has been my experience working with Cargill, CP and other MNCs. So this problem you all know, so I don't want to explain much. So we designed a product to mitigate the TSS problem and total suspended solids and nitrogen and other things, also mitigating the COD, BOD in the water. So we worked with, next slide please. So we worked with Namami Ganga project via tender process. So our third party, they have taken this product and utilized that. And we were also designing this product for, poultry and other purposes without knowing that it could be even used for wastewater treatment. So this is the result we got before and after. So even a lot of people go into this, this is now stopped all across India. Even some states, there is this problem still exists. I don't want to go deep because government has stopped it. This is the drainage which is having at least 8 to 10 inches of muck. Next slide, please. So this is after 3 months because bacteria takes a lot of time to degrade this. So this is again a lake. Next slide, please. Next. So our government official visited even in Alsur Lake. We have tried this. Yeah, next slide, please. Next. Yeah, this is the after treatment from the same place. You could see just one slide before. Next. 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 Yeah. So in the same place, so we have seen this kind of results. So I don't want to elaborate. If you are interested, get connected to me, and then we can talk much deeper in terms of technicality of this. And here during the 2018 flood in Patna, then a lot of smell related issue was there. Even mosquito other issue was there. That was the point where we need to address the issue on time. So that there we have played with this solution. It is not mandatory that the same solution will work for every place, for every problem. We have to again rejig with the bacteria, different bacteria for different problems, what enzymes it secretes, and based on that we need to work forth and back. So next slide, please. So we work with even gram panchayats of different zones, even in Karnataka, even in Andhra, Patna, West Bengal, Delhi, surroundings, and I have worked across Southeast Asian country as well as Central American countries on wastewater treatment from, especially from aquaculture space, where the ETP, STP water we have to work on. So these are all the parameters. I mean, you can't see, I think, because of the thing. So it will drastically reduce because this particular strain of consortia, they love to eat on proteinaceous thing, releasing protease as the main source of enzyme, which is released by this bacteria. So these are all the projects we have worked. One is Kumbh Mela also we have given, Swachh Bharat again, Hussain Sagar Lake cleaning projects along with our tertiary and secondary partners from 2014, 2015, 16 and 18. So after this, this is again a legacy waste which is in Hyderabad next to the very posh locality. So they are not getting their real estate realized because we have to go there and address this issue. But legacy is there, and around 3 kilometers of dump site is being created next to the posh locality. So there people are spraying the solution in order to get the faster result, just to mitigate the smell and mosquito and fly control. That's all. Yeah, this is all theory. You are all experts, so I don't have to tell. This is the analytical report which we have done via Aerofins just to see the efficacy of the product. Next slide, please. So this is the stabilization of the product we could do by mixing different sciences. One is cosmetic science, another one is polymer science and other things, which we are working on that. And people want to make, I mean, my partner want to make this as a patented product, but we are not keen now. And this is the experimental methodology which we wanted to publish. Yeah. So this is the bulking. I mean, some failures in the middle slide. So when I was trying with different products, that did happen. And this is again a blue-green algae problem, which is a magnanimous problem in aquaculture space across 7 to 8 lakh acres, which is happening in Andhra Pradesh alone, to the tune of 71%. The entire 71% of the aquaculture is in one state, that is in Andhra Pradesh. And it is again a chicken bowl of India, egg bowl of India, rice bowl of India, fish bowl of India. So everything. One slide previous. Yeah, that is the microcystis, which is again a blue-green algae. We have to mitigate via bacteria. That is what we are trying out, and we are just now successful. So next slide, please. Yeah, this is the government approvals which is needed to cater our product in the central government approval for the product. So that we have done. So yeah, again approval mail. Yeah, next slide. This is again the one certification from the central ministry and as well as from the RDPR. Atik sir has given us some recommendation in order to work back and forth with the government people and Swachh Bharat missions, SBM consultants. So that is what it is. And these are all the recommendation letter in Kannada. So, and the work is, Pramana Patra. So this is the typical model where government is putting its money of 1,27,000 crore. So for the next 5-year plan, so that is being implemented now. Your UJD and other programs. Just my concern is that after 8 years, the muck will be so much. So manually taking out will be at least 30% of the original costing. So that we have to reduce by some means. That is what we wanted to propose to the government. Yeah. So there is a flaws in the, according to us, I'm not saying according to everybody, but according to us, there is a flaws in the, because thermal treatment is very much needed, but we cannot do because of the costing. I have seen that personally in China and Taiwan efficiently working because of their, far-sightedness. But again, we are just copy paste of China in terms of population. So we should be looking forward to this. Otherwise, we have the water, we cannot use it. We will be another Cape Town after some years. So we do not want that situation. So this is the how it works. Again, the scientific backing of how it works. Yeah. So this is the legacy side. I mean, even if you go to Delhi, you'll get a lot of high, I mean, 20 foot, 40 foot of waste is being dumped because of the heat is generated so much. It is taking a lot of time to, degrade and decompose. That is why we recommend only 6 feet. This is what we have worked with even KCDC, Karnataka Compost Development Corporation. They are also asking us because they have a showcase notice and clearance, pollution control board is asking them to come out of the Kudlu site because surrounding people are getting a lot of smell and mosquito and fly issue. This is again the black water treatment with feces. Then ultimately it can be used for the plant and agriculture and purposes. These are all the certification of the company, and we got 2 grants and recognition from the Karnataka startup, and also the next slide, please. And the archiver after also. So we got recognized, but yeah, we are working on this is one product we are working, but other than that, we work on 120 plus products. So this is me and my team. These are my mentors. Thank you. Any questions? Feel free to ask me off the dais, on the dais, anything. I'm okay. Fine. Thank you.
Can I have a question?
One quick question, please. Then anyhow, now next is tea session, tea time. So he is available. He already promised also people can have interaction. One question, please. Perhaps it may be a general question to all.
This is Girish. Can I have a question?
Yes, please.
Very nice presentation, sir. I just want to ask whether they are using tiger worms for sludge management, human ficus sludge management, whether they are using tiger worms also.
I never heard of tiger worm. I have heard of black soldier fly so far.
Acha, I saw that. Yeah,
Hello. Oh,
yeah.
you're online. Sorry. I was trying to locate you. Okay.
Look,
Black soldier fly, there is a company, even my friend owns a company. The company name is Loop Worm. You can search on net, you will get them. So they are extensively working on here in Bangalore on black soldier fly. Other than that, tiger worm, I'm not aware.
Please go through the literature. Ministry of External Affairs, they published a volume. They awarded some set of people. In Maharashtra, Pune, somebody is working on that. It actually manages the human ficus sludge very nicely. It's very encouraging to see that one slide of yours wherein you have shown the dried up sludge. That's what actually would turn entire watershed management into a different level of management. Thank you.
I appreciate, sir. I mean, I'll get in touch with you. Kindly you out your number so that I'll speak to you in person.
Sure. Thank you.
Any general question? Not one-to-one question. General question. One question we can permit. Please.
See, 95%, to be precise, 96.5% according to the government data, even from the IPCC data worldwide, below 20,000 BOD levels, every waste will be there. But when it goes to the main site, along with the leachate and other things, the BOD and COD levels will increase. So what I am trying to propose is, before it enters to the mainstream, at our site, if we treat by some solution, not necessarily only this solution of mine. So if you try to mitigate in your premises only, it will be better. So because the BOD, COD will come down, and the pressure on the nature to treat that and the half-life of that will be reduced. So that is what I wanted to communicate.
Anyhow, an interesting presentation because he is a service provider. So anybody is interested in their domain, they can contact him to avail the services of actually restoration of polluted water. Finally, we are creating polluted water during our day-to-day use. So he is one of the service provider. Definitely, such services are also very important in management perspective. So thank you, Atreya, for your presentation. So congratulations to all the presenters today. There were 7 presentations, and out of which 2 are online. And session extended beyond the somehow controlled time. Some extra presentation and extra interest people have shown, participants even in the evening time, post-lunch session. And overall, anything you have to tell, Jyoti Kumar? No. Because of time, anyhow, interaction will continue. Actually, the theme of this session was natural resource management policy and action research. Yes, yesterday also I told, we need first resource, then only we can manage it. If resource is not there, we can't manage, and if resource is abundant, easy to manage. If resource is less, difficult to manage. So with this difficult situation, we have to manage our natural resources, particularly water, because yesterday also it was deliberated. Water is not available so easily today. Once upon a time, we had physical access to water, that is drinking water in Kalyanis. Today, we got the physical access only in plastic bottles. So this is the journey we have traveled since years. So there is no physical access of drinking water today. We have to get it from the shop or market. So this is the situation because of so many reasons, which is deliberated a lot. And connected with these natural resources, yesterday I told, who has not touched water? Everybody is touching water because it is such a commodity which we require day-to-day use, and it is continuously increasing, the demand is increasing. That is why our management skill also has to keep pace with this difficult situation. So water is so important, both surface water and groundwater, and many aspects were covered. I don't want to list it out again. The themes covered, it is diversified right from traditional to modern digital world, because digital technology, space technology, all the traditional technology, everything is blended together to manage it very effectively. Because we can't forget our traditional wisdom. Traditional wisdom is very important. Just I can make it interesting to tell that when I was a student or so, when a dug well is constructed, we will get the soil, then weather zone, then hard rock with fractures. So it was a totally manual work. I am telling the years 1970, 65 like that. So we are very curious to see water. So when the hard rock is encountered, it is highly fractured, chiseling will be there, hammering will be there, and small bores will be there, then blasting will be there. So the worker will tell, sir, or whatever it may be, Yajaman, naale neer kanutte nimage. So he got the indication that in that dug well, we may get water tomorrow. When you please wait. So all will be crowding around that well, and will be very anxious and curious to see water, how it is gushing out from that fracture or weaker zones, fissures. This is a thing. So similarly, when I travel from that era to today, if a dry dug well, Franklin told that when the well is dry, you will know the worth of water. So that dry well, because of all these activities, integrated activities, if we see the fine morning, some water is coming in that dry well because of all these interventions and management practices, how happiness it will be. When the dam is filled, tank is filled, Bagina, ministers, politicians, all leaders, all will go and Bagina will be offered to that reservoir or tanks. So we are doing puja, that much sacred it is. So I wish that this Bagina, let it be offered to all the water bodies in the coming years with all these integrated activities. So this is very important for us. Technology is there. We are chasing the technology. Technology is chasing us. So with this blending of both the aspects, if management is also come into picture, perhaps this type of center, Art of Living Center, River Rejuvenation Project, even I visited with our Lingaraj sir, when that recharge shafts and water pools in that particular second order, third order stream, in the recharge pool, in the dry summer, there was some small seepage which was coming. I don't remember the place. It is near that Tumkur road only. So it was very happy to see that some action is giving result. May not be a very wonderful U-turn result, but there is result. So when the efforts are continued, definitely results will come. With that hope, we have to go with a positive note for our future programs. So with this few notes, I'm concluding this session, and I thank Jyoti Kumar for supporting to conduct this session. And I once again congratulate all the speakers. I also thank all the audience for your patience hearing, because nobody is moved out. I was watching who is going out. Nobody is going out because it is going interesting way. So yes, it is challenging because post-lunch session is very challenging, but it was interesting. That is most important, both online and offline. So I thank once again to the organizers for giving this opportunity to conduct this session. So thank you one and all. So I am closing this session here, and I am handing over the mic to Uday, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. You organized this sessions, handled this session so efficiently, and time management is perfect. Thank you so much, sir. I, at this point, also on behalf of our River Rejuvenation Project and Vyakti Vikasa Kendra, I thank Dr. Kumur and Dr. Pradeep ji, and also our young person from Mairada, Salil Patkar ji, and Girish Pujar from National Remote Sensing Agency, Hyderabad, and Atreya, who made his presentation towards the end. And is there anyone who's there? Dr. Kushalappa ji, Dr. Kushalappa sir, and Mandira, Dr. Mandira. So it's now it's time to give a presentation, to memento to the chair. So I request Aparajita ji to. With this, almost we have come towards the end of the symposium, but a very important, a way forward. For that, we have a plenary session soon after the tea break, and just soon after the tea break, we will have one photograph, because the sunlight is pretty good for taking a beautiful photograph. Because this is assembly of lots of people who have worked their lifetime on in the sector of water and forest and agriculture. So we cannot miss this moment. This is something which is very important memory, which will remain a memory for us in the future. In the meanwhile, we have given you a form on which Dr. Lingraju has requested your suggestion and recommendations how to go forward, and they are important because we would like to print a booklet, so that this becomes a very valuable document for us to take up when we take up projects of this nature in the future. Especially like Harish mentioned about tool, river index tool. Something, those things are new things that are coming up. As we started earlier, we were considering only making the river flow, improving the groundwater, but lots of other components of river management are coming up. So all this is outcome of this symposium. And let's get prepared for the plenary session. And now break for tea. Yes.
We would love to capture your experience in video of this conference. So during the break time, please connect with me. We would love to take 2-3 minutes video bites from you. Okay, thank you.
Dr. Bhavita will take the video bites. Yes. Thank you, Doctor. to assemble back again in the auditorium. Our chief guest, Sri Ramesh Ji from National Bank of Agriculture and Rural Development has already arrived here. Now, this 2-day session has covered a number of topics. Broadly, they were divided into 7 themes: riverine ecosystem, climate resilience and stakeholder involvement, sustainable development plans, groundwater and lake rejuvenation, water conservation approaches, engineering and nature-based solutions, and finally, the natural resource management policy and action research. In these 2 days deliberations, more than 25 scientists who have put in their lifetime in the water sector have contributed substantially on riverine, how riverine ecosystem has to be managed, and they were very useful points. And this 25 authors who have presented, it means that it's roughly 1,000 years collective experience has come to this hall, where we all had the opportunity to listen to them and see through the presentations which they made in the last 2 days. Well, this subject of riverine ecosystem has become so very important, and it's attracting the attention of the government and the public at the same time. It's good thing that from Art of Living, we started this journey in 2012, and by now we have worked on several rivers, and then the approaches developed have started getting they have been getting appreciated by various scientists and communities and the governments. So this discussion can maybe, as our beloved chairman of Vyakti Vikasa Kendra India, he suggested every year we should have these kinds of projects. So from this year onwards, we will decide certain period of the year which will be convenient for all the scientists to come together and participate, so that our knowledge will go on increasing year after year on in managing natural resource management. Now, for this closing section, valedictory program of this function, I requested Chief General Manager of NABARD, say almost about a week back, myself and Dr. Lingraju, and he readily agreed. I'm so very glad that he is here, because they are also the nodal agency for climate change fund. So they have a bigger role to play. So we wanted them to have an overview of what Art of Living has been doing last few years. So I request Prasanna Prabhuji, chairman of our trust Vyakti Vikasa Kendra, to escort him and come to the dais, please. I also request Sri Sudhir Kumarji to come on the dais. Also request very senior scientist, additional Director General of Geological Survey of India, Dr. K.S. Sharma has come all the way from Dehradun. Entire family, all the family members are geologists. So I request Dr. K.S. Sharma ji to be escorted by Kaveri on the dais, please. Sorry, K.S. Mishra, K.S. Mishra. K.S. Mishra ji, big hand please. Yes. Yes. Yeah. I also request Dr. P.G. Divakarji, a former scientist of ISRO and Professor, National Institute of Advanced Studies, who is a backbone for our technology requirements of river rejuvenation. Big hand, please. And all this is happening only because Dr. Lingraju brought this idea of river rejuvenation. I request Shashi Kumarji to escort Dr. Lingraju, sir, on that. Well, one good sign about these 2 days seminar is a symposium is nobody, everybody actively participated. We hardly saw anybody going out, and most of the time their mobiles were switched off. So I thank all the delegates for being, focusedly involved in the deliberations in 2 days deliberation here. Now it is customary to introduce our chief guest, and now I would like to say a few words about Sri T. Rameshji, who is currently serving as Chief General Manager, Karnataka Regional Office, Bangalore, since May 9, 2022. Prior to taking over the charge of Karnataka Regional Office, Sri Ramesh was heading the Corporate Planning Department at NABARD Head Office, Mumbai, and was dealing with the overall business budget of the bank, credit planning exercise, fixation of agriculture credit, target for banks, and monitoring of credit flow and dealing with Government of India, Reserve Bank of India, and financial institutions on various aspects pertaining to agriculture and rural development. He is a rank holder from Bangalore University. Sri Ramesh Ji is a postgraduate in finance and is certified associate of Indian Institute of Bankers. He began his career from State Bank of India and joined National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development in 1988. With a diversified experience of more than 35 years, he has worked extensively all over the country. Among the states where he has worked are Karnataka, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, etc. Sri Ramesh has worked as the District Development Manager in Uttar Kannada district in Karnataka, where number of case studies of Uttar Kannada were presented in these 2 day seminars, sir. During his stints at various states, he was extensively associated with developmental projects, including watershed development, tribal development projects, self-help groups, and farmers producer organization. He has served on the board of 2 regional rural banks in Karnataka and on the board of NAP Kisan. It's a subsidiary of NABARD. Presently, he is a nominee director of NABARD on the board of NAFFINS Limited, a subsidiary of NABARD for microfinancing. Sir, it's a pleasure that we have you here, and I request everybody to welcome him with a big applause. Now, with us, we have Sudhir Kumarji, about whom I have already spoken. Most of you are aware. A scientist who has spent most of his time working on the water sector, hydrological sector, and that too in areas across India. When he was mentioning about his contribution in Karnataka, he has worked on Malaprabha Basin and some projects in Chitradurga. He's somebody who is aware of the entire India's hydrological conditions today. And well, he also posed very important questions to us. What is riverine ecosystem? What is the rejuvenation of resilient riverine ecosystem? And that gave food for thought to all of us. And then most of you started thinking about it, and the recommendations are also coming up that will be presented, sir. Now, Sudhir sir's major contribution is he worked on the hydrological studies in Thar desert areas. So, well, being from the state of Karnataka, I feel this is the second most arid state other than Rajasthan. So he has done extensive work, and I'm sure his inputs as a director at National Institute of Hydrology, and with a strong qualification from IIT Roorkee in applied geology, and a PhD in the similar discipline, you will be a lot helpful to us in developing our future plans on river rejuvenation. Sir, I welcome you again for this valedictory function. And no words need to be mentioned about Sri Mishraji, K.S. Mishraji. Entire family has contributed lifetime on water sector. And it was very well witnessed by all of us. Anshuman's presentation is an eye-opener to us. He used technology on these hydrological studies. So that is, that was very much appreciated by all the audience. So, and well, we met him just 2 months back when he had come to ashram. And that is the starting point of our relationship between us and Art of Living and Mishraji. So with this is the beauty of Guruji's magic. He brings people together. And this is why when somebody comes to Art of Living, it's coming home. That is what Guruji says. So, sir, we are very happy to have you and for the valedictory function on the dais here. So thank you so much. And then Dr. P.G. Divakar, he's somebody, is a backbone of our river rejuvenation because he has extensively worked in ISRO on, natural resource management sector, and a strong association between Lingaraju sir and Divakarji sir, no need to be mentioned because, whenever we want services of Divakarji, he is available to us. And well, our team of geographical information system and our team of river rejuvenation, they have been immensely benefited. Like most of the volunteers, they don't come from a specific background. Here is a mechanical engineer working on GIS. Here is a chemical engineer working on GIS. He is somebody who is not connected with GIS at all, but still working on GIS. And all these kinds of inputs, learning inputs, we got it from Dr. Divakarji, sir. So I thank you very much, sir. You are here for our valedictory function. I also, in fact, Dr. Lingaraju, sir, in fact, Riverine rejuvenation system, when he used to speak about this in 2008, when we were working for a World Bank assisted project, we were not showing keen interest. But then when Guruji blessed him and when, it has gone across India and well, maybe when these present papers get, available, accessible worldwide, I think the movement has started from Art of Living and with Dr. Lingaraju, sir. So thank you so much for being with us for the valedictory. And well, anything I speak about Dr. Prasanna Prabhuji is less. He is, Guruji, I want to clarify, Guruji said we are all happiness doctors. All Art of Living teachers are happiness doctors. Guruji has said it, so yes, he is a doctor. so yeah. Yes. So, well, for the benefit of newcomers to this, he is somebody who got into Art of Living at a very young age, 24, something, very rare thing that youngsters do. He was in a field, media field, working with Jaya Bachchan, Amitabh Bachchan from that Miss World and Miss Universe kinds of projects. Coming to spirituality is a U-turn totally, and well, for a number of years, he has contributed his service in publication and associated with Art of Living, doing programs, has done program in more than 26 countries. International, he's an Art of Living international teacher. He's a teacher's training program teacher too. So he's a number of, I think, teachers who have been trained by him. That number alone must be more than 10,000 now. So, and he is an energy who gives inspiration to youngsters and all his team. I consider myself young. So he inspires youngsters, he gives freedom to work, and he also monitors, and that's what is required. So today, with his leadership in Bhakti Vikasa Kendra India, we have signed a number of memorandums. We have been spreading our we are doing projects in different sectors. So all this is happening because of Dr. Prasanna Prabhuji. Sir, I thank you very much. And see, oh yes, fantastic. you know, I mean, that incident, I must say, I will share it with you, something which he shared it somewhere else. He was in Vinod Khanna's place. And when he was in Vinod Khanna's place, Guruji was there. And Guruji asked Prasanna Prabhuji to sing. Prasanna Prabhuji had never sang a song. Oh, no, that's those kinds of songs are academic. I mean, syllabus, curriculum-oriented song. But he sang that song, a beautiful song, and it was, in Annapurna he sang that song, and he told that was the first time he sang that song, and it is a beautiful song. And on behalf of all of us, I request you to sing that song again. maybe I think with Prasanna Prabhuji's song we will start. Yeah, yes. You sang Vinod Khanna's.
What was the song? कहाँ ये वैलिडेटरी में ये सब
श्री करी कृपा करी क्षेमंकरी परमेश्वरी शंकरी अभयंकरी शुभं करी परमेश्वरी तांडव केली प्रिय करी भैरवी प्रलयंकरी अम्बा भैरवी प्रलयंकरी सर्वेश्वरी सुंदरी दयामयी महेश्वरी श्रीकरी कृपा करी श्रीमंकरी परमेश्वरी.
Thank you so much, sir, for that beautiful prayer. Now, I request Vireshji to present a memento to the chief guest of today's valedictory program, Prasanna Prabhuji. Well, yes. Now we have, in fact, you all very actively participated. Few asked questions, and some had questions, and there was no time available for you to, add more questions because of the paucity of time. But this is next 25 minutes. It's open house discussions where maybe you restrict to about 1 minute maximum, and then give your recommendations, which we will take it forward. Can we start with Dr. Kumur, sir? 1 minute. You can speak on your recommendations. Yeah, Mike. Mike, be given. You have opportunity. I'm near here.
Good evening. Yesterday, Silpa Nag was talking about establishment of horticulture under NREGA. That's why I was suggesting that on a cluster basis, establishment of horticulture, orchards under dryland conditions can be taken up with NREGA funds so that we should be able to create horticulture clusters in the selected villages. Then this same recommendation can also be implemented in the watershed projects being implemented through Gram Panchayats in Chitradurga and other projects wherever you are taking it. Then I am also telling establishment of the river CADAs, subsume them into CADA, catchment and command area development authorities. That is another recommendation I am giving. Then the Doni River restoration and rejuvenation paper I have submitted. The same can be recommended to Government of Karnataka for their consideration for implementation, because it's going to create a very good ecological ecosystem in that dry belt of Bijapur, Belgaum and Yadgiri districts. And it will be a very good conservation effort and also revival of the river. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Maybe we have to, satsang will start here by 6:30. So therefore, we have paucity of time. What we have done is we have given a sheet of paper requesting for your recommendations. Kindly share, hand over those recommendations with Kaveri ji and Bhaveta ji. And maybe one or two people can speak, delegates can speak. Anybody can, whoever is ready. Sir.
Thank you. I have 3 recommendations to make. The first one, the resilience is the most important characteristics for the stakeholder, because that shows how quickly and how efficiently you recover from perturbations. And that is what is most important to stakeholders. So in any resilient system, we need to have measures for resilience. Otherwise, we are not sure whether you have made an improvement through the project. So these resilience measures have to be on different scale of space and time. They have to be multi-sectoral. There cannot be one measure, there has to be multiple measures. So it is important to build these measures before the project and after the project. Okay. So that is my recommendation number 1. Recommendation number 2, riverine system is where people are impacted heavily. So in any monitoring and evaluation, people have to be involved. The stakeholders have to be involved. It cannot be that the fund givers do the monitoring and evaluation. It is the people who are impacted, they do the monitoring and evaluation. And that is what we spoke of about participative monitoring and evaluation of the project. So that is the second recommendation I have. And today technology makes it possible. Okay, today technology makes it possible. The third recommendation, river is a transboundary resource. It has no boundaries. It flows across different property regimes. Okay, it has no boundary at all. It is above ground, it is below ground. So to manage a complicated transboundary issue like this, the existing mechanisms are not useful. Existing mechanisms, policies, laws, government, property regimes, everything is divided and fragmented. You need either an institution or an authority which can focus on the entire aspect of the riverine ecosystem. So that is not available today. You will have to ideate and create something like that to manage it in a holistic and integrated manner. That is my third recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sheshgiri sir. Harish.
Good afternoon, everybody. Yesterday, I spoke on diversion of river water, those west flowing rivers actually on the Western Ghats, that too particularly of Uttarakhand district, where these 2 rivers which I have mentioned yesterday, Bedti and Aganashini, they are undammed. Totally, there's only very few of the undammed rivers in India or globally, of which is Aganashini is one. But unfortunately today, were legalized or on those water and clean, healthy rivers also to divert water from almost 300 meter below the ground level there of the 600 meter, 50% down level to pump out water against the flow direction. They want to divert it to from ecologically sensitive zone to the eastern plains, where the area which they are envisaged to utilize that transported water or exported water, it is already under irrigation, area is waterlogged, brackish groundwater is there. There are certain other techniques, modern methodologies, indigenous knowledge is available to address those problems there. Rather than that, I don't know why we are creating havoc or the disastrous developments in the ecologically sensitive areas of Uttarakhand district there. It is not only for Uttarakhand district, for that matter, all the west flowing rivers at certain depth. If you want to catch hold of so much of water from there and to reverse it, it's against the nature. We are probably coming in the way of right to river as the nature's principle there. We are not to go against that. That's one thing. Secondly, this kind of system, this resilient riverine ecosystem, which what we are thinking at this level, it should go to Gram Panchayat level actually. It's a beginning. We have started thinking on these issues here. It should be implemented or make possible to implement at the Gram Panchayat level. Yesterday, Madam was telling, Silfanag, we have to involve the people, not only the administrators, the stakeholders there. Every stakeholder should be aware of what is going on around them. Such is the movement. The Art of Living has given excellent opportunities here for all these discussions. Otherwise, it is two times, or a couple of times it has been said here that people have not gone out. Why people have not gone out means the deliberations are so important, multifaceted subjects have been covered here with the experts. Dedicated presentations were made, excellent presentations were made, and probably from here we have to take it further to the, not the state level, to the district level, it is to the panchayat level we have to take. All the stakeholders we should make involved to understand this mechanism and they themselves to become the part of it. Then probably the entire exercise will be more successful. Thank you.
Since we have paucity of time, restrict yourself to half minute now. Yes. Yeah. Sir. Yes. Yeah.
Just it, probably I will go very fast. The Resilient River Ecosystem RRE seminar had been a wonderful window to have an update, and have an in-depth idea as to what needs to be done in future towards the objective. The following items are suggested. We should have to get a resilient legal setup to endure the challenges of all the stakeholders. A holistic view and use of water from a variety of sources it may come from. We should have we should enlarge the RRE to larger members of larger rivers as well as smaller rivers and streams that would enable an efficient water harvesting system and thereby augment our water resources with surface and ground. The Geological Society of India's monthly journal can be a forum to present part of the proceedings that may not find a place in the book that is planned. And after a formal peer review, such papers can be published in that forum. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. There is a small deviation in the program. Now, for the delegates who have participated, we are giving away the certificates. Since shortage of time is there, we are calling very few as a token. So I request Dr. Harish Kumar to come and receive the certificate. I request our chief guest, Ramesh ji, to hand over the certificate. I request Mahadev Gomaraji to come on the dais and take this. I request Dr. Anshuman Mishra ji to come on the dais. I request Ms. Salila Patkarji to come on the dais. Yeah. Yeah. He's his son also. Yeah. Lakshmi ji, Mrs. Lakshmi ji. And Salila. Hurry. So, I mean, very important suggestions have been given. We will compile all of them. I request before you leave the auditorium, hand over to either Kaveri or Bhavetaji the recommendations which you have given. Now, I request Dr. P.G. Divakarji to speak for about a minute about your experience.
Thanks for giving me opportunity, being a technologist, to be present in such an interesting topic of discussion, the resilient riverine ecosystem. A lot of points have been made, especially the kind of points which came out from Shishagiri Rao is excellent. I think we should straight away take those points in. Adding to the kind of points what you said, I feel we should use the technology like geospatial technology to really document the riverine systems which are not in good shape today. Unless we know which are the riverine systems that we would like to prioritize, we will not be able to go to the government and ask them, say and tell them that these are the riverine systems which need to be developed and what kind of a development to be done. So I think it's first important for us, state-wise, district-wise, in whatever small form we can, to do a documentation, and that I would say a geospatial documentation. It's not a paper, it's not a what do you call document or anything. It is going to be a geospatial documentation which will very clearly tell you spatially which are those areas which needs priority for addressing the spoilt riverine system, so that we will be able to sort of regenerate them on priority basis. And this could be what do you call a very good recommendation which can go from this ashram itself to the respective government to which we would like to address, and possibly seek the funding from the government and then take it up for development. While doing so, we should also incorporate the right kind of baseline, the right kind of monitoring and evaluation mechanism. The monitoring and evaluation should be concurrent in basis, in nature, so that while the implementation of a riverine system regeneration takes place, it is concurrently documented using IoT technology or drone technology or even space technology. So we have to incorporate the technology elements into the implementation of the correction to the riverine system in a very effective manner, and all that can be integrated onto an integrated GIS system. And we can set up a very powerful geospatial system on a cloud which is accessible for the stakeholders, so that it will be a transparent mechanism that we can adopt and then implement. This is, I feel, a very important statement which we can possibly make it as part of the recommendation, and also follow it up with action, so that we prioritize, we implement, we monitor, and see to the end of implementation of a regenerated riverine system. Thank you.
I now request Sudhir Kumar sir to speak.
Thank you very much. Give me a chance. I'll continue what Dr. Divakar has said. Already, I'm sorry, I'm just cutting your a little bit of point. Already this exercise has been started. And already in Uttar Pradesh state, all the rivers which have died out or are in bad shape have been mapped at the level of 1965. So same exercise can be done everywhere and we can identify the reaches. Then after identifying the reaches, the technical institutions have to be roped in. Okay, there the same process is being adopted. IIT, NITs, national institutes have been the scientists are working with the state teams and giving them where to do and what to do. And based on that, whole Manrega is now activated. So that is a very good exercise, and that similar model can be adopted everywhere in the country so that we have technological interventions, all IoT, drone, we are doing the drone surveys also. So everything has already been started. So this is a very good opportunity when the number of people are here, they are thinking. So one thing I wanted to say that our generation has spoiled these rivers. Now we are sitting here to resolve the issue. We are the people who have spoiled. I have no shame in saying this. So we are returning back to the, because our generation has started exploiting the things heavily. And now we are sitting here after 35 years to say that we have to now rejuvenate the things. So I'm sorry, people should not mind it. so now coming to the recommendation point of view, river rejuvenation basically is nothing but increasing the groundwater table so that water flows in it and reduce the pollution load in it. Your biodiversity or ecology will will eventually develop and will come to its original state. So for that, we have to protect our recharge zones for the aquifers, and we have to go for the artificial recharge. These are the two technologies we have to incorporate in our scheme, and we have to work on that. And action research should be on that only.
I now request K.S. Mishraji to speak.
Okay, my recommendation will be to have a water grid, national water grid. What I mean by this, say we were in catastrophic situation with electricity distribution a decade ago or 2 decades ago. But with the water electricity grid, now we have got electricity supplied all over the country. By water grid, I mean, say our Maharashtrian brothers, they don't want to give water to Karnataka brothers. And they are lifting the water from south to north against the slope by pumping. It is hazardous. What I will recommend to my Maharashtrian brothers is that you give that water to Karnataka brothers, take a cess. And when Karnataka people, the Tamil Nadu brothers, they go to Supreme Court to get water released from Karnataka. So they can give it to Tamil Nadu people and get the cess. So everybody, say Maharashtra has got a lot of water in eastern part and it is having shortage in western part, but geology doesn't allow transmission. So if it is put into the national grid, every state will not be having discord. They will get money for rainwater, which is going to the ocean. How long we can afford to lose 80% of rainwater to the ocean and talk about water shortages? It is like having Kamdhenu at home and collecting the poisonous milk from the trees, you see. So this is my recommendation, that if it goes, that we should have a water grid where equally it is distributed, and anybody and everybody will work very hard to generate the water as a rainwater resource to give it to somebody so that he gets the money. So money makes the things go, and I will say that this should be my first recommendation. One more recommendation is there, we discussed in the morning session, that our cradle of religious belief is Tirth, Chakra Tirth at Naimisharanya. It is from Vedic time it existed. It was the place where 18 Purans were written by Suji. I discussed it. Lord Vishnu has recited the Satyanarayan Katha on asking by Suji Maharaj to 88,000 sages. Now that Tirth is in very bad condition because it was working, water was gushing out at one time at a unique artesian condition, and because of over pumping we have destroyed it, and pretty soon we will lose it if we don't take a step now. So we think that the government will love to rejuvenate a Tirth of that caliber to be developed. So then that will be my second recommendation from this August gathering for both the governments who are now helping the religious feelings of ours, and something will happen. I'm hopeful.
Thank you so much for your recommendations, sir. Well, this very symposium we commenced working on for the last 3 months, and with the help of our collaborators, Ministry of Jal Shakti, Chanakya University, Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore, University of Agriculture Sciences and Horticulture Sciences, Shivamogga, and Art of Living. Together we have done, we have been organizing this symposium. Now, the whole idea of organizing this symposium started with Lingaraju sir. I want your impressions. Did it go according as you wish?
Only thing I want to say is thanks to everybody. Definitely, I am confident this kind of deliberations, recommendations will inspire us and take us forward. Thank you.
I now request of our beloved Chief General Manager of NABARD, Sri Ramesh ji, to speak.
First of all, my pranams to Guruji, respected dignitaries on the dais, and all the distinguished participants of this 2-day symposium. I'll start my words, I'll not call it speech, 2 words, with a caveat. I am neither a scientist, nor a geologist, nor an expert on the water field, but a simple practicing developmental banker. So I would just throw a different perspective, how NABARD, maybe other organization which I'm representing, how NABARD has gone about, I'll not say solving, taking this water to the farmers in a different way. Because in fact, I still remember back in 2012, I was in this regional office. I had Mr. Lingaraju calling on my regional office and asking for a support for a river rejuvenation project. In fact, whatever we have now read about Kumudvati, I think most of you must have seen that, and same is the case with Arkavati or maybe Palar. In fact, that was in a very conceptual stage. When he came, we just heard him almost, I think, 1 hour presentation he made, and it was a beautiful presentation, the way in which he was saying. So we had certain problem in supporting this project at that point of time, because NABARD was not in a position to invest so much funds in rejuvenating a river, which is because it is a transboundary, as one of the speakers said. The water may be originating from one state, maybe going to the other state. So any activity NABARD takes up in one state will be objected by the other state government. So we had our own issues in which we couldn't support the river rejuvenation project, but we suggested that NABARD takes up watershed projects like a micro watershed projects wherein the in situ conservation of water and soil is taken up. And we suggested whichever places you are doing the rejuvenation, NABARD would be too happy to support Art of Living in taking up this micro watershed projects. And I am happy to say that in some of the watersheds, in some of the river rejuvenation projects, they have taken up this micro watersheds, and they're really doing a wonderful job in those places. In fact, our experience of watershed, to give a small brief, we have started this project on a pilot basis way back in 1995, and seeing the success of it, we mainstreamed it way back in 2000 until last, during the last 22 years. We have supported close to 3,500, more than 3,500 projects, and we have covered close to 25 or 26 lakh hectares of watersheds have been treated. In fact, it has benefited close to 25 lakh small and marginal farmers. The one thing which it has shown is, whatever experiences you have seen in your river rejuvenation project, we have seen it on a micro level. Like the first and the foremost, what we have seen is increased ground water in all the watersheds what we have seen. In fact, in some of the watersheds in Hassan, Chitradurga, which was dry regions of Hassan, not the rainfall regions, the most of the bore wells which had dried up, we could see the water gushing out of these bore wells in a matter of about 8 months, 8 to 10 months. And in fact, this had enabled the farmers to go for a crop diversification. Various other livelihood activities also had come up in the form of shifting from monocropping to multiple cropping and taking up the dairy activities, and which had also had another important feature. The reverse migration had started taking place. People who had migrated from these watershed areas to cities in maybe Bangalore, Mysore, or Dharwad or Hubli, they've started going back to these places, and we could see a beautiful ecosystem being developed in this watershed. In fact, for almost a decade or so, we were doing monitoring based on a manual basis. I think we, like Dr. Divakar said, we got the idea of monitoring these watershed through remote sensing, and in fact the support given by ISRO was so great, and today we have in NABARD a remote sensing cell in our watershed monitoring all the 3,000 projects, and we are able to have the real-time data of what is happening in that watershed. And in fact, not only this watershed, we also had another natural resource management program called Orchards Development, wherein we are supporting the tribal farmers with cultivation of maybe in 1 acre of their land. Some of the good orchard plants like maybe mango, chiku, and other plants, which can act as an insurance for their future. And NABARD supports them with almost 4 or 5 years of activities which are required, right from pitting to the taking care of the plants. And in fact, we have done close to around 800 such projects across the country, benefiting around 26,000 tribal farmers. 2.6 tribal farmers. In fact, the climate change project, like we are doing around 40 climate change project across the country by taking help from not only Adaptation Fund, the climate, Green Climate Fund, and also National Adaptation Fund. Also, we are doing close to around 1,850 crores of project we are implementing across the country. But here I would like to share one thing. Wherever such river rejuvenation project which Art of Living is taking up, NABARD will be too happy to support such micro sheds being developed. It's not that only the river rejuvenation, along with the river rejuvenation, there may be farmers who are not able to get water to their fields. So there is a need for catching the water in his field. In fact, I would like to narrate one a project which we have taken up in Karnataka, which Many of you would have seen by when you're traveling from flight. When we used to travel from Bangalore to Hubli, we used to see only arid soil, only dark, black soils we used to see till about 10 years back. Last 2-3 years back, if some of you have noticed, you will start getting streak of sun rays hitting when you are sitting next to the window. People were wondering what is the streaks of sunlight striking you so often. This was a project which we have done along with Deshpande Foundation. Deshpande Foundation is a foundation started by Deshpande. We have linked up with Deshpande Foundation for construction of farm ponds in small and marginal farmers, a farmer holding around less than 5 acres of land. We are allowing the farmer to take up a construction of a pond, and NABARD is supporting by way of forming a joint liability group. Groups of the small farmers come together, and we give incentives to them for taking up this activity. And since farmers are not able to afford this money of constructing farm ponds, it costs around 1 lakh. 1 lakh is too a large sum for a small farmers. We have linked up with certain banks. In fact, we have entered into MOU with the State Bank of India and HDFC Bank. So bank funds around 60,000 of loan, and 20,000 comes from the farmers' own funds. And today, you'll not believe, Nargund and Navalgund area, you have close to around 7,000 ponds. And our objective was to create 10,000 ponds in Dharwad district alone. And today we have 7,000 ponds, and each pond stores around 33 lakh liters of water. You can imagine it is almost equivalent to a medium-sized dam. And the water is available to the farmer when he wants, he can use it. And just a simple technique of lifting the water from his field and irrigating. And in fact, many of the farmers whom we have interacted have shown a beautiful results of this project. The farmers who are having income of around 50,000 or maximum 70,000, they used to get from tur dal or horse gram. Today, they are having an income of around 2 lakh 80, 3 lakh 50 also some farmers have got. And beauty of it, they had taken 60,000 loan from the State Bank of India. And they went back to State Bank of India and said, I don't want this loan to be in my account for next 3 years. The loan was for a 3-year period. They have repaid the entire money and asked for a higher quantum of loan for lifting the water, for using the water in an efficient manner by way of maybe sprinkler or by way of everything. That's the empowerment that project has given to the farmers. So what I'm just trying to convey is wherever such river rejuvenation projects are there, we also need to take care of some of the farmers who may not be able to get water from this river. So probably there can be a very good impact across the boundaries of this river which flows. Maybe I think I would not take much of your time. What I would offer in Karnataka, because my jurisdiction comes in Karnataka, wherever such river rejuvenation projects are taking up, we are ready to support, and I am sure even my other counterparts in other parts of the country, they would also be too happy to associate with the Art of Living for supporting such watershed activities in the river resilient regions what you are taking up this project. With this, I would thank the organizers, particularly the Art of Living and Dr. Lingaraju for having invited me and allowed me to share a few thoughts on this project. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for the number of, you explained lots of interventions by NABARD. In fact, we are currently doing mostly watershed projects. We would like to expand our, we'd like to take up more of the other projects too. I was also wondering, in 2017, we had one meeting with the chairman of NABARD in Mumbai. So maybe if you have a monthly meeting of chief general managers, then since Art of Living is a pan-India organization, we can share what we are doing, and maybe across India we can implement NABARD projects. Yeah, yes.
Invite Art of Living people for this project
Yes,
so
sir.
that people across the country can
Yes, yeah, yes.
the development we are already doing. So already my people are.
Sir, thank you so much for your, address. And now it's time. I request our chairman, Prasanna Prabhuji, to speak.
Check. So now my role is more about documenting all of this and finally seeing how it can be implemented on ground. But one suggestion I have, sir, is that there is a lot of data already available. This is one big area of concern, and lot of us who are in this space are looking for data. Lot of people have that data but are not sharing it, and we feel we don't have data, and the people who have data are not doing anything with it. So this is another area that I think I'm sure the government, agencies, everybody is doing it, but I don't think we've done enough. So we are duplicating, replicating something that somebody has already done many, many years ago, and therefore we are wasting time and we are not as efficient as probably we can be. If that data somehow, I don't know what the technique or tool is, but the thought is that if you can somehow bring all the best practices and all the data somehow together, and if maybe this forum can create some structure around it, which we can even maybe propose to the government tomorrow, that somehow all of this, if it comes together, it will help each other. It is not that I'm going to take away the data from you and deprive you of something. On the contrary, if I get the data, I'll be efficient, and what data I have, I can give to you. If this cross purpose of data can be done and also of best practices, then a lot of stuff that we're doing in one area can be used in the other. Even within our own organization, that's a challenge. So I'm sure when they run an entire government, it's a big challenge. But if we can put a little bit of thought on that, of bringing data together, best practices together, and somehow using it to the best ability that we have as a nation, I think there's a big need of that. And I'm sure a lot of work has already happened, but still there is a lot more to be done, is what I think. That is one thing. And second is that we are very, very sincere when we have done this. We want to do this on every year basis and monitor the work that we've done, the suggestions that come, what we've done with those suggestions, so that the next year when we do this, we'll begin with the work that the inputs that came, what are the actions taken, and now how can we take that one step forward or X number of steps forward. That would something that we will do. And we would like to facilitate this entire thing on a year-on-year basis, and we'd like everybody's participation, including you, sir. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your presidential remarks. And now I request Nirav Rawalji, Director, River Rejuvenation Projects, to propose word of thanks.
I think in no way thank you is a word which can give any justice to what we have seen in last 2 days. It's 1,000 years of experience getting squeezed into the nectar of 2 days. I think each one of us have enjoyed and learnt and shared. I specifically would like to thank today Ramesh ji for taking out time and be here. Particularly the way he said there are more partnership opportunities with Art of Living, and that's a very, very welcome thing for us. I also thank each and every participant who have come over here from a distance and shared their knowledge with us. I also thank in the last all my organizing committee to make this event successful. So from here, as Prasanna ji said, our new journey begins. Thank you, everyone.
With that, our 2-day symposium comes to an end. Now, I request you to be in touch with us, and please hand over the recommendations to us. And tomorrow morning, we have arranged ashram tour. So those who will be here staying tonight and will be there available for ashram tour, kindly get in touch with Kaveri ji and our Vimala ji and Bhaveta ji. 3 people are here, Vimala ji, Bhaveta ji and Kaveri ji. You can give your names so that arrangements are made for your ashram visit tomorrow. So ashram is a beautiful location here where nothing was here. For some 35 years back, it was all barren land. And this is a typical watershed where we have planted trees. It's all a manual contribution, man-made contribution. So you can see how this area has transformed. And we have seen the transformation of this place. Lots of new bird species have started coming. Aquatic life has improved. It's all, the entire area has transformed. You can visit through the ashram tomorrow. Please don't miss. Kindly give your names and participate in that too. Now I request our chairman, sir, to take the chief guest and our team to